My name is Aria Bennett. I'm 30 years old. And the moment my grandmother placed that envelope on the table, everything I thought I owned stopped being mine. It happened on a Sunday. The kind of Sunday where everything feels slow, predictable, safe, until it isn't. Grandma Evelyn set her teacup down so gently that the porcelain barely made a sound, yet somehow it silenced the entire dining room. Forks paused midair, conversations died mid-sentence. And then she looked at me. Not softly, not kindly, but precisely. "Aria," she said, her voice calm in a way that made my chest tighten, "why are you still renting that shoebox in Queens?" My stomach dropped. Because I already knew. Something was wrong. I forced a smile. "It's temporary, Grandma. I'm saving." "What about the brownstone on East 71st? She cut in. "The one I signed over to you when you turned 21. The air left my lungs. Across the table my mother laughed. Too quickly. Too brightly. "Oh, that," she said, waving her hand like it was nothing. "We transferred that to Noah, it just made more sense." Noah, my younger brother. I turned to him, he didn't even look up from his phone. My father kept eating, slowly, deliberately, like he had rehearsed this silence. Grandma Evelyn didn't blink, she folded her napkin with circle precision and placed it beside her plate. "Finish your meals," she said quietly, "then get your coats." My mom stiffened. "Evelyn, please. There's no need to dramatize." Grandma raised one eyebrow. "Margaret," she said softly, "you have no idea what drama looks like." Something inside me shifted, cracked, because I suddenly realized I had never actually owned anything. Not the space, not the money, not even the truth. The car ride was silent, the kind of silence that presses against your ears until it hurts. I sat in the front seat, staring out at the city lights blurring past, while Grandma drove with both hands steady on the wheel. "You remember the day I gave you that house?" she asked without looking at me. I nodded slowly. I remembered everything. The brass key, the ribbon tied around it, her voice saying, "This is your foundation. No one can take it from you." "I meant that," she said. A pause. "Unless someone already has." My mother shifted in the back seat. "You're assuming things again," she muttered. Grandma didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. "Tonight," she said, "we stop assuming." We pulled up in front of the brownstone 20 minutes later. My brownstone. Or at least, the one I thought was mine. Lights were on inside, loud ones, music spilled through the windows. My chest tightened. "Noah said he was staying with friends," I whispered. Grandma turned off the engine. "And yet," she said calmly, "your house is throwing a party." The door wasn't locked. That was the first thing that felt wrong. The second was the smell, alcohol, smoke, something stale underneath it. We stepped inside and the world tilted. There were strangers everywhere, shoes scattered across the floor, empty bottles lining the kitchen counter. A girl I didn't recognize sitting on the stairs laughing too loudly into her phone. And in the middle of it all, Noah. Leaning back on my couch. My couch. Like he had always lived there. He looked up when he saw us. And for a split second, just a second, something like panic flickered across his face. Then it disappeared. "Grandma," he said, forcing a grin. "You should have called." Grandma didn't respond. She walked straight past him, set her bag down on the table, and pulled out a folder. Thick, heavy, deliberate. "Explain," she said. No one moved, no one spoke, because deep down, they all knew. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was exposure. I stepped forward slowly. "No," I said, my voice shaking despite everything. "Why are you here?" He shrugged. Casual. Like this was nothing. "You weren't using it," he said. "Mom said it was fine." Something inside me snapped. "That's not an answer. It's the only one you need," he shot back. My mother stepped in quickly. "Aria, don't do this here. Not in front of everyone." "In front of who?" I turned sharply. "Strangers living in my house?" "Our house," Noah snapped. The word hit like a slap. Grandma finally spoke again. "No," she said calmly. "It isn't." She opened the folder. Lesk spread the documents across the table. Deeds, signatures, bank records, transfer forms. My name scratched out, replaced, erased like I had never existed. My vision blurred. "What is this?" I whispered. Grandma's voice didn't soften. "It's theft." My father finally stood up. "Evelyn, that's a strong accusation." "It's an accurate one." Silence, heavy, unavoidable. Then Grandma looked at me. "Aria," she said gently, "you are not staying here tonight." My throat tightened. "But this is my—" "No," she said firmly. "This is evidence." That was the moment everything changed. Not when I saw the papers. Not when Noah lied. not even when my parents stayed silent. It was the moment I realized they were never going to tell me the truth, because they never thought I'd find it, and they were almost right. Grandma didn't let me argue. She took my wrist, not roughly but firmly enough that I understood this wasn't a discussion, and led me back outside. Behind us, the noise in the house started again. Laughter. Music. Like nothing had happened. Like my life hadn't just been ripped out from under me and handed to someone else. We didn't drive far. Just 3 blocks. A quiet street. A small, dimly lit cafe tucked between a bookstore and a closed florist shop. It was nearly empty. Perfect. Grandma chose a table in the corner. Back to the wall. Full view of the door. Always thinking 3 steps ahead. Sit, she said. I did, because at that point, I didn't trust my legs to hold me anyway. 5 minutes later, the door opened. A woman walked in. Late 30s. Sharp eyes. Tailored coat. The kind of presence that made the entire room feel smaller. She spotted us immediately. Walked straight over. Evelyn, she said, nodding once. Then her gaze shifted to me, and this must be Arya. Grandma gestured toward her. My niece, she said. Clara Bennett, real estate litigation. Clara extended her hand. Her grip was firm. Grounding. I came as fast as I could, she said. Show me everything. Grandma slid the folder across the table. Clara opened it, and the atmosphere changed, completely. She didn't react emotionally, didn't gasp, didn't hesitate. She just read. Page by page, line by line, like she was dismantling a lie piece by piece. Finally, she exhaled. Slow. Controlled. Well, she said, closing the folder, this is bad. My stomach dropped. How bad? She looked straight at me. Criminal. The word landed heavier than anything else that night. Criminal. Not misunderstanding, not family conflict, not miscommunication, a crime. Clara tapped one of the documents. This signature? She said. It's not yours. I didn't sign anything, I whispered. I know, she replied calmly, because whoever forged it made a mistake. Grandma leaned slightly forward. What kind of mistake? Clara turned the page toward us. Your name, she said, pointing. You sign your A with a loop at the top. This one is sharp, angular, different muscle memory. My chest tightened. Something about hearing it explained so clearly made it real in a way nothing else had. They transferred ownership 11 months ago, Clara continued. Then leveraged the property. My pulse spiked. Leveraged. How? She flipped another page. A refinance. $280,000. The number rang in my ears. At a line of credit, she added. 150. I felt sick. Where did the money go? Clara didn't sugarcoat it. Your brother. Silence. Thick. Suffocating. Grandma's voice cut through it. What's the plan? Clara didn't hesitate. We file immediately, she said. Quiet title action, fraudulent conveyance, possibly identity theft charges. My head spun. That fast? She met my gaze. They moved fast, she said. We move faster. The next 48 hours blurred. Documents, emails, calls, signatures, real ones this time. Clara brought in another attorney, Daniel Reeves, older, measured. The kind of man who spoke like every word had already been weighed in advance. This isn't a gray area, he told me during our first call. This is clean fraud. Paper trail is sloppy. Sloppy, I echoed. Yes, he said. Which is good for us, bad for them. And then, the backlash started. First my mom, 6 missed calls, then 10, then 20. Voicemails stacking one after another. Arya, pick up. Don't do this. You're overreacting. You're going to destroy your brother's life. Then my dad. Texts, long ones, paragraph after paragraph, about family, about loyalty, about sacrifice, not a single apology. And Noah texted once, just once. You're really going to screw me over like this? I stared at the message for a long time. Then I blocked all 3 of them. Discovery hit like a truck. Clara warned me. But nothing prepares you for seeing the truth in black and white. Email chains. My father sending a scanned version of my old lease signature. Use this one, he wrote. A reply from someone labeled Notary Services. Should be enough. Bank transfers, large ones, irregular ones. My mother wiring money to Noah days after the refinance cleared. And Noah, a screenshot from a group chat. Him, laughing. Free house law. She won't even notice. I couldn't breathe. I had to step outside. Cold air hit my lungs like a shock. Clara followed me. She didn't try to comfort me, didn't say it would be okay. She just stood next to me. Solid, steady. They didn't just take your property, she said quietly. They bet on you staying silent. I closed my eyes. And now? She glanced back toward the building. Now, she said, they're about to find out what happens when you don't. The court date came faster than I expected. 2 weeks. That's all it took. Because cases like this, they don't drag, they collapse. The courtroom felt colder than anything I'd ever experienced. Not physically, emotionally. Like every lie had been stripped down to its bones. My family sat across the aisle. Together. Like nothing had changed. Like they hadn't done any of it. Noah avoided my eyes. My mom looked tired. My dad looked angry. Not guilty. Angry. Daniel stood beside me, calm. Unshaken. "This won't take long," he murmured. He was right. Because once the evidence started, it didn't stop. Forged signatures, illegal notarization, unauthorized transfer, fraudulent refinancing. It stacked. Higher and higher. Until there was nothing left to argue. The judge really needed an hour. When she finally spoke, the room went silent. "Miss Bennett is the sole and lawful owner of the property." My breath caught. "The transfer to Noah Bennett is void." My hands trembled. "All associated debt remains with the defendants." A sharp inhale from across the room, and the property must be vacated within 30 days. It was over. Just like that. But the real moment, the one I'll never forget, wasn't the ruling. It was when I looked up and realized they weren't looking at me like family anymore. They were looking at me like I had taken something from them. I thought winning would feel louder, bigger. Like something inside me would explode into relief the second the judge said the words. But it didn't. It felt quiet. Too quiet. No one spoke as we walked out of the courtroom. Not my mom, not my dad, not even Noah. The hallway buzzed with other cases, other lives, other problems. But around us it felt like the world had been muted. Like we were moving inside a glass box. Arya. My mother's voice. Soft. Careful. Like she was testing whether she still had the right to say my name. I stopped. Not because I wanted to. Because something in me needed to see what she would do next. I turned slowly. She looked smaller. I had never noticed that before. Her shoulders slightly hunched. Her eyes tired, but not from regret, from fear. "You didn't have to go out far," she said. The words landed wrong. So wrong I almost laughed. "Far?" I repeated quietly. My dad stepped in, his tone sharper. "You made this public. You could have handled this inside the family." Inside the family. The phrase echoed in my head like a joke that wasn't funny anymore. I looked at him, really looked. And for the first time in my life I didn't feel like his daughter. "You forged my signature," I said, calm, clear, no shaking, no breaking. "You took my home." Silence, my mom's lips trembled. "We were trying to help." "No," I cut in. And that was new too. Interrupting her, not waiting, not softening. "You were trying to control it," I said. "And me." Noah scoffed behind them. "This is insane," he muttered. "You're acting like I stole something from you." I turned to him. Slowly, deliberately. "You did." He shook his head, running a hand through his hair. "You weren't even using it. You practically gave it to me." The words hit like something cold and sharp, because part of me, a small, quiet, dangerous part, remembered all the times I stepped back, all the times I let things slide. All the times I chose peace over boundaries. And for a second, I understood exactly how this happened. "That's the problem," I said quietly. "I gave you space. I took a step closer. You took everything else." No one had anything to say to that. Not even him. Grandma Evelyn touched my arm lightly, not to pull me away, just to remind me I didn't owe them anything more. "Come on," she said softly. And this time, I didn't look back. The house felt different when I returned. Not cleaner. Not fixed. Just honest. Like all the lies had been stripped out of it, leaving behind something raw and unfinished. The first night, I didn't unpack. I didn't clean. I didn't try to make it feel like home again. I just sat on the floor in the middle of the living room, back against the wall. Lights off. Letting the silence settle. Because for the first time in a long... The silence wasn't hiding anything. The messages came anyway. They always do. My mom sent emails, long ones. Subject lines like, "Please read. We need to talk. You don't understand everything." I didn't open them. Not at first. My dad tried calling from unknown numbers. Blocked. Every time. Noah didn't reach out again. Not after court. Not after the ruling. Not even when the 30 days started running out. But the last message, the one that finally made me pause, came 3 weeks later. Subject: "We have nowhere to go." I stared at it for a long time. Longer than I wanted to admit. Then I opened it. It was short. No long explanations, no justifications, no pretending. "Arya, the house is being sold. We couldn't keep up with the payments after everything. We're staying with friends for now. It's not stable. I know you're angry, but we are still your family. We need help. I read it twice, then a third time, waiting for something to shift inside me. Guilt, maybe. Or that old, привычное чувство ответственности, the one they built into me piece by piece, but it didn't come. Instead, something else did. Clarity. I walked to the window, looked out at the city, at the life I almost lost without even realizing it. Then I sat down, opened my laptop, and typed a response. I didn't take anything from you. I stopped letting you take from me. I stared at the words. Simple. Clean. True. Then I hit send. No anger, no extra lines, no explanation. Because for the first time, I wasn't trying to be understood. I was just done. The renovation took 2 months. New floors, fresh paint, locks changed twice. A safe installed in the closet, bolted down this time. Permanent. Untouchable. I kept one thing the same, the balcony. On the third night after everything was finished, I stepped outside with a glass of wine. The city stretched out in front of me. Lights, noise, life. And for the first time it felt like mine. My phone buzzed. A message. Not from them, from Grandma. Keep the lights on, she wrote. So you never forget who you are now. I looked at the string lights lining the balcony. Warm, steady, unapologetic. And I smiled, just a little. Because the truth is, losing everything doesn't always look like destruction. Sometimes, it looks like finally getting your life back.